Good morning. We are live with Joan. Of course, I'm getting texts right as I started. So, good morning, Claudia. It's afternoon there.
Good morning, Joan. Good morning, everybody.
Yeah. So I am having my cup of coffee out of a cup that I got on Vashon Island last week. The barn is my church, life between the ears. And if you look at hashtag life between the ears, there are so many people that do send in photos and they hashtag life between the ears. So then she started a company and a greeting card company. And anyway, she's a Vashon Island person. So I'm back home, which is very good, and I'm happy to have coffee with everyone. Cheers.
I love that mug. I might have to get one of those.
It's so great. Okay, so we are here on the summer solstice day, the longest day of the year. Is anyone else here?
Yes. Guess who's the first one to say hi?
Leslie Williams.
Yes, I swear we need to give her a title.
Yeah.
Good morning, Leslie. And then Val Smith says hi.
Hey, Val.
Heidi Ensley says hi.
Hey, Heidi.
Shannon Meyer says hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Shannon.
Richard Allen says hi.
Hi, Richard.
Joyce Lee Leggett. Denise Nessel.
Oh, good. Denise and Joyce. Good. All right. Well, and for those that are in another hemisphere, I guess it's the shortest day of the year. Happy winter solstice today. For us, it's the summer solstice. Oh, look, there's Joanne Reed. Okay, I can barely see through these because of my farm life. Not that they're not terrible, but they're not great. I remember we used to see my dad when he was old. We would just take his glasses and Windex them, and he'd be like, wow. And I feel like I'm turning into that person. I've turned into that person. Yeah, so I didn't need the Windex. Anyway, happy summer solstice. If you're new to me, my name is Joan Ranquet. I'm an animal communicator, author, TEDx speaker, and founder of Communication with All Life University. And the school, the program, is a place where you can learn animal communication or become an animal communicator. You can learn energy healing. You can become an energy healer. You can learn all about nature and wildlife. And we have all sorts of programs developing. There's all sorts of fun little things you can take as a one-off. There are things that you can take as the certification for animal communication, energy healing. Soon you could do both, which is the big program. And we're going to create a certification for just sanctuary and rescue work. And then, of course, nature and wildlife. So all of that is in the creative ethers, if you will. And as far as things coming up, we have lots of great things coming up. We have the virtual retreat, which is, I know that Shannon will put the proper dates in there. It's somewhere around the 15th of July, that Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And that's going to be very fun. It's going to be like an overview on Friday night of energy and body work, the bridging animal communication and energy healing. Saturday is going to be like a little mini boot camp of animal communication, and then Sunday will be scalar wave. A delicious round of scalar wave. And we will just bask in that. And let's see, what else do we have coming up? I might be doing a little master class in here, thinking about it in end of July. Then we've got the fall intensive, which is an amazing experience, and you can do it in person or virtually. And that includes 3 days of animal communication, 3 days of death, dying, and beyond. So we talk to animals that have crossed over. We do a lot of self-healing. We prepare to be able to help other people in that process. And then we do energy healing for animals, which is scalar wave and all things chakras and energy fields. And that's another delicious 3 days. Then after that, I think we're going to have, again, the acupressure with Dr. Jill, the Jill and Joan, my other company, will have the acupressure. And Heidi did it this last year, and that was pretty darn fun, wasn't it, Heidi? And then we've got the animal communication level 1 starts the last week of October. We're almost halfway through animal communication level 1 from the spring. That's crazy.
That's just, no.
I know. After next week, like then July 4th, there's a week off for that. Then it's like 3. I just know that I'm teaching every day for like 3 weeks, and then it's summer break. But anyway, then in the first week of November or the second week of November, we have energy healing for animals. And then those that are going to Kenya with me will be sneaking out for Kenya. And then it all starts all over again next year. But in the meantime, lots of fun classes coming up. And I really think the virtual retreat is going to be a very special and unique opportunity to hang with me and the teachers almost in, like, not pajamas, but it's going to be very casual and very delicious. I love the virtual retreat because it's so, we really get to know everybody. Shannon's usually right in there with everyone. So any questions, comments, observations?
Yeah. Shannon posted that the virtual retreat is July 15th through the 17th. I put the link in, so if anybody wants to, you just click on the link, it'll take you directly to it. Heidi Evans said that acupressure in-person classes with Jill and Joan are amazing. A must for anyone interested. She loved it.
Thank you.
And Shannon says she loves the virtual retreat.
Cool. So I thought that I would really just kind of break from our usual. What is our usual? We've had themes. We've had a lot of themes, you know. Last year.
We've had amazing guests.
Had amazing guests.
The last couple of times. We've had some experiential where people can get to see what we're doing with the rescues in the sanctuaries.
Yeah.
So we've got that. And we had the How to Help Animals series, which is possibly one of my favorite things on the planet. So, yeah we're mixing it up because the more we do, I think the more animals we help. And what is your mission again? I can't remember that. What was that number?
We're here to help 22 million animals this year. So collectively, that's what we're working towards. So that's why I'm gathering all you up and having, you know, it's actually funny and interesting. In getting ready for today's live, I was kind of looking at a lot of topics around happiness, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And I think it's a perfect summer solstice talk because summer solstice is really, and again, I'm only speaking to people in the northern hemisphere. It's, you know, today is like, it's the longest day, and it's the day that we really start to reap or see the benefit of the things we've sown. So if you think about, like, even that little funny saying from the Midwest, you know, knee-high by the 4th of July, that the corn should be knee-high by the 4th of July. So, you know, it really is now is the time that, like, we march toward the shortest day of the year, and it really is, you know, we've done a lot of preparation, and we get to enjoy, if you will. And it doesn't mean that there isn't, like, summer planting or literally summer planting, but we're starting to see the benefits of it all. And it's very much a time to be reflective. And so I thought I would do talk about happiness why it's important and why it is important for our animals in our home, and why it might be very important as a profession. And it's amazing to me because I just went to Seattle, and we did that fun live last week. Was that just last week? Are you taking a nap over there, Claudia?
No. I was looking down at my chihuahua on my lap. Last week you were. No, I'm not taking it.
I thought she was nodding off, but she was looking down at her dog. That actually made that made Penelope's tail wag. She thought that was funny.
Yeah, all of a sudden I'm asleep on
your lap.
She's like, that would be bad. Yeah. That was last week. You just got back.
Yeah, and so a lot for me happened in that. First of all, I had to sleep all weekend. I did have a death in the family, so I have to leave again tomorrow. But so that kind of brought me to a quiet space over the weekend. But I really thought a lot about what was it like to be gone that much. Like post-COVID, I haven't done as much as I used to do, and it made me think about how much I used to do. I used to travel once a month somewhere and teach animal communication to groups. And so I was up there in the Seattle area teaching at Northwest School of Animal Massage, which is a really wonderful, wonderful school and facility and opportunity for people to learn body work. And so I want you to kind of put a pin in that once we get to kind of the career part of what I'm talking about with happiness, because that is a place where I think people really just thrive through that education. But it's really important to... So I did all this running around, saw family on my mom's side, worked a lot for... I keep getting texts about my what to wear at the funeral. Anyway, so I'm sorry if I seem distracted. So anyway, I got to see family on my mom's side. I got to teach. I got to go talk to animals in person, barns that I love, people that I absolutely adore. I got to see, and she's not on Facebook, so I got to see someone that graduated from the program the first year with Shannon. Her name is Sarah Glazer, and she's doing animal communication and body work. And she was so much fun to hang out with. And she got to work on the horses while I talked to them. So that was just absolutely delicious. Tomorrow, someone who graduated from the program in the same year as Sarah and Shannon is picking me up from the airport in Spokane and taking me to my hotel. And we're going to go for a vegan lunch in Spokane. So I'm looking forward to that. But anyway, all of this is how life used to be. And I think about how many people are still languishing or not really living fully as they once did. And what did we learn in this period, right? Like, what did we learn? What did we from this shutdown? And maybe some of you were running around and busy through the whole thing. And I was very busy here with the school virtually. And then slowly but surely, things are starting to pick up in person. And I know that one of the things that's going to happen, especially with a new book coming out, is life is going to rev up again. And would you believe that I actually counted the hours that between world wildlife trips and doing a book tour, I still would be gone less than if I had a 40-hour-a-week work job, right? I figured it out because I started to be like, oh, but I've loved being home with my animals. But I did the math because, of course, I'm that person. I'm going to add it all up. And I still would be, I will be with my animals at home more than if I had
you were working.
Full-time job somewhere else. So that was good to think about.
That's a good argument. Thank you for that one.
Yeah. right? It's an interesting thing, and that adds to my happiness personally and career, which is what we're getting to. So, um, I think one of the things I would love to hear from you, and you can write this in a journal privately, or you can share with us, are you happy? Are you happy personally? Are you happy professionally? And I would say that, like, one of the reasons that I bring this up is because, like, I have an older horse who's, pretty much at times it seems like she's in, just when I tell someone on the phone that, I have a horse in hospice, then she, like, runs around like a little, painted pony in the desert. But, telling everybody to, there's an F-bomb involved with her. But anyway, so I know that at some point I will be grieving that. I'm certainly sad about my cousin. And in general, I'm happy in my life and I'm happy with my work. And that was no small feat. Like, that was not the easiest thing to get to. And that's going to be the little journey here. So we're going to go on a little journey today together. And so I'd like to start with, are you happy personally? And then, are you happy with your work? And these are going to be important questions. What would you say, Claudia?
God, I knew you were going to ask me.
I know.
I was just waiting for you to look at me. Am I happy personally, and am I happy with my work? I am happy with my work. Personally, there are some family issues going on and minor health issues that have kind of put up roadblocks. But like you said, it's been no small feat to get to where I am. And I can honestly say I'm probably the happiest I've been with me. Mm-hmm. In my life, because I'm doing the work and I'm getting there. So I don't think that happiness is a destination so much as a journey, and we're going to have the ups and downs, and finding what I wanted to be when I grew up was a huge part of that piece. I found that out a few years ago, and I'm 50, so.
Yeah, so that's a really important thing. It isn't a destination, right? Like, there's things that make it dip and go all around. But is anyone typing in? I mean, if you're just keeping this private, like, please kind of look at, am I happy and am I loving my work? Is anyone typing in?
Well, wait, you know how it happens. All of a sudden, people there's a delay and then they take a moment. But,
has anyone typed in before? Was there anything?
Yeah. Shannon just put, love my graduating class circa 2010.
That was a great class. Yeah.
So let's give it a moment.
Yeah.
It's a hard question.
It's a hard question. But I will say that there's a number of reasons I'm asking. All right.
Richard Allen says, I'm happier than I have ever been. Yes.
That's awesome.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. And we're going to talk about a little bit about how we got there and things like that. And so, so if you aren't going to type in, I get it. But if you are writing this down at home, maybe you're going to write in your journal. Maybe you're just going to grab some random papers and put them in a journal later, because I think it's really important. Because it impacts our animals in our household. I mean, I've put out a lot of memes recently about how our energy at home, who we are, what our energy is, impacts our animals. And then in a bigger level, are we going to impact animals of the world? So, yes, I see Claudia's hand raising.
We have some comments. After Richard said that, Val says, I'm happy, I love what I do, but I always wonder if I'm serving my highest purpose. Shannon says, I'm super happy with my work. It doesn't feel like work at all. It's what feeds my soul. Happy with who I am in my 50s and working on up-leveling my happiness. Thank you, Shannon, for once again putting into words.
Yeah, that's great. Up level happiness.
Yeah. Claire Trust says, I'm happy, food choice almost all of the time.
Okay, and that is a great thing because here's the thing. It is an inside job, right? Like we have to look at what brings us there. And to me, um, the the happiness is um, it's a balance of mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and even chemical, if you will. And ultimately, if you have the mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual balance, you're going to create a good chemical balance, if you will. Or by making the choice, you're almost balancing the chemistry of your body. Because a lot of us could have different things, hormonal illnesses, head injuries, all sorts of things that are there, but we still work toward finding that spot in the thermostat. I can see that more things, but I think I need some Windex. So what else is coming through?
Oh,
Sorry.
I'm laughing. I just need to say I'm laughing because I've never met Joan's dad, but I find him to be one of the funniest human beings that ever walked the planet, just based on the stories Joan tells me. So anytime she shares a story about her dad, it makes me giggle uncontrollably. I feel like I knew it. So.
Yeah, no, he's alive while dead. I mean, he just was very funny, and it lives on. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So, last I said was Claire. Okay. So Heidi Edit says, I'm not happy with my current work. I crave connection and creativity.
Well, you certainly have it here, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you definitely are, absolutely adored and have lots of people to connect with in the school. So that's great.
I sure found that connectivity and creativity within the school too. So I hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Maureen Bissonette says, I love what I'm doing. When I can make an animal feel better, it is the best thing ever. Now, if I could do it full time, it would be even better, but that's okay. I still have bills to pay, so I have to work another job, but I can live with that.
That's good. But hopefully through the school and, you're in the big program, so hopefully once you get to like the Animal Business Academy, you'll start looking at things differently.
Tanya says, I sat last night and really looked at myself in the mirror and had a conversation with myself, and learning to love what I see is a journey I'm working on.
That's cool. Well, the thing about happiness also, as far as like, not only is it important for us, because like I said, I think a lot of people are just kind of like struggling since COVID, and it's weird to think about, how so much slowed down and now it's speeding back up again, and where do we fall in this, and what did we learn from it, and how can we bring what we learned to our new environment, ecosystem, if you will. But I did a lot of work before I knew it was a thing on the fact, and this goes back to the chemical balance, I just felt like there were places where my parents had been depressed. And so I felt like I carried that in, and now it actually has a name, epigenetic. And so I really did a lot of work on that. And it's been interesting because as I discovered that, I really worked to rewire what it is. And I in my first book, Communication with All Life, I really talk about like what are some of the things that would mess with the frequency. And it's on page 120 if you'd like to read along. Things that are going to affect us, that are going to throw that balance off, if you will. Pollution, clutter, electromagnetic fields, someone else's bad mood, family turmoil, preservatives in food, anything in excess, Huh. Having to do a job I dislike. Living in limbo, unless I'm in a state of expectation that something amazing and fantastic will be around the corner. Um, Jet lag, and often the news, unless you're like me and I just transmute it and pretend it's just information. But there are things that will lift my frequency, and this is what I want to get to here for a minute. I was actually on the phone today with my, and Heidi might remember Kat from the yoga studio. Kat is one of my virtual assistants, and she project manages a lot of the stuff for me. And we were talking about, she's been really surfing a lot, and she's like, I think it's my spiritual expression. And I'm like, I get it. The lawyer for the school right now, my cousin that died, by the way, in Washington State was the lawyer for the school. But now the lawyer for my school, California lawyer, is he surfs every day. So and that's his spiritual calling. But frequency, things that raise my frequency are, and I want you to think about your own and write yours, type yours in. Dancing with a band and singing along to silly songs as long as no one can hear me. I love museums or a great theatrical performance and wonderful music. Being in nature, organic foods, minerals and crystals, I have them everywhere. Puppy breath. Thankfully, most of my dogs still have puppy breath. A monkey trying to grab my earring. That's happened to me a few times. I don't even wear earrings anymore. Laughter, being in love, dinner with friends, a great ride on one of my horses, having a cat chase a light, horses off in the field with their tails just blowing in the wind, pretending that my dog and I are preparing for the Frisbee Olympics, exercise. For me, like jumping rope and hiking is all yoga. It's all wonderful. The presence of my dog and cat at bedtime. At that point, I only had one dog and cat. What? Weird. A massage. Pampering myself with bath salts or a nourishing lotion, as long as they don't have parabens. Wind chimes. A moment of success. A really great daydream. So I'd love to hear some of the things that raise your frequency, because these are things that we have to build into the day if we are in that state of kind of languishing. It's not only going to help our us, it's going to help our animals, our human family, and it brings to light how we want to be in our work. What are people typing in? Claudia?
Well, Val's comment is one of my favorites, hugging a cow. I mean, there is no quicker jolt of happiness and joy than hugging a cow. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Shannon, you nailed it. Horses eating, sounds and smell of hay. Yes. And the click clop, their hooves on the cement, on the concrete when they're walking through the barn aisle.
Yeah.
Lena Cheros says, walks in the woods with doggos. Claire Trost says, just being outside in nature. My cat loves to join me. People are commenting. Cassandra Cram says, love this, love this. Catherine Myers-Miller says, snuggling my cat. That's how they get us. Val Smith says, bubbles, the act of breathing and making something fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cassandra says, the sound of the squeak toy raises mine because it makes me know that my dog is happy and healthy.
Me too. I love that sound. Yeah. No, I love that sound. I know it irritates other people, but I'm like, yeah.
You love Barnaby then. Becky Bone says, puppy breath and crayons are my top two, being in nature.
So funny you say crayons, because I actually told Kat, my project manager, today, I'm thinking I used to love when that big crayon box, I would run to it before my sisters got there and grab the magenta crayon. And I was thinking, as I rebrand myself, and the school can stay blue and green, but I might just have to be magenta. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, I love the magenta.
Yeah.
Mila Palavida says, dance and talking to plants, finding animals and insects appearing unexpectedly. Shannon, connecting with wildlife, eating vegan chocolate. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Maureen Bissonette, getting a curse from a burrow that has previously been totally shut down.
Nice.
Yeah. Leslie Williams says, very early morning walks with my dog surrounded by nature. I'm finding a common theme.
Yeah. Animals and nature. And chocolate. I want to go back.
Shocking, like weird. Like,
yeah, weird.
We're all,
I want to go back to the burrow in a moment, because so these are all things that make us happy. And then, for Maureen, that's her potential life work. And one of the things that, that becomes what is termed now, I've heard this term and we're just going to go with it, career capital. So, and that becomes something that is very important for us then, in the same way that we want to raise our frequency with us. And we're all one. Of course, we're connected to what it is we do for a living, but you might not be getting career capital in your day job. Like Heidi said, she's not loving that. And I just wanted to bring up a couple other little things before we jump more to like the career version of this, is that some of the things that are really, really helpful, along with things that we might go do, right? Those are things that we do or we experience. We experience the dogs and the cats in bed and out in nature and things like that, or hearing the dogs or the horses eating hay. But did you just go away? You went to sleep? All right. Anyway.
No, I apologize. A call came in. I just declined it.
Okay, so one of the things that self-compassion is really important. Appreciation, super important. Some cultures are really looking at happiness, like as a culture. And one of the things that a lot of northern cultures, I can't remember whether it was Finland or Norway, where savoring became something that savoring is becoming a cultural phenomenon. Whether you're savoring, like I spend my time savoring my coffee with you, Tuesday at 10 a.m. But we might savor that time with our dog, especially thinking about them being older, or like my horse. I savor every minute with her. So savoring becomes something that we want to become aware of. And then, of course, being present and holding space. So those are all sort of little things that also help us, because our spiritual practice may or may not be meditation. We may or may not have some giant exercise, but there's other ways that we're feeding all of those mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, that aids in that chemical balance that becomes the human being. So those are really important things. I know some more comments come up in, and then we'll jump to a little bit about the career.
Yes. So, okay. Shannon Meyer says a good long hug from a loved one. Joyce Lee Leggett says magenta was her favorite color, favorite crayon too, Joan.
That's hilarious. I love that.
Heidi says being in my garden, being with my grandkids,
nice.
Being around animals and nature, visiting art shows, dancing, laying in green grass with sun through the trees with the sounds of birds and bugs going about their day.
That's perfect.
Joan Reed says spending time with my kitties and birds, sitting on the deck and listening to the wild birds, sitting in the sun, singing loudly and spending time alone with my thoughts. That's nice. Underrated.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, it falls along for me. It's like a yummy daydream like that. That's one reason I love flying so much is I get to be the village idiot. It's like I go to the airport and I just stare like a dingaling, and then I get on the airplane and I just stare into space and daydream. It's
I've traveled with you. You do
have
that.
been. Yeah, it's heaven. Yeah, you've been on a plane with me.
We text right at takeoff because we weren't sitting together, and we texted when we landed, and we both became village idiots in between because I love it too.
Yeah, I love being a village idiot. I get to be a village idiot for hours tomorrow because there's a layover. Okay, so I want to go into now, how do we translate that into our work, right? Like, here we are, we're raising our frequency, we know what it is that makes us happy in our lives. And again, it's a day by day. It's not like, oh, I did that last week, therefore I'm happy. It's like, I know that, you know, for me, and I haven't been because I've had injuries, but I'm going to start next week. Like jumping rope gives me incredible endorphins. Incredible endorphins. Like nothing else. Other than maybe riding. But, and hiking comes a close second. So those are things that I know for me are going to help me at work, right? Because I'm going to be the best I can be after I've meditated, worked out, tended to all my animals, and I show up, and here I am at my job, which today is this, and then I get to teach. So one of the things that I found fascinating is that, you know, I told one of the reasons I added up all the hours that if I were to do a little book tour and a wildlife trip or two in the next 2 years, a book tour and a wildlife trip, that it still was less hours that I would be gone from my animals than if I worked a 40-hour-a-week job away from home. So that was pretty relieving to see that I can rev things up and still maintain a really great balance here at home. But it is literally 800,000 hours that you spend in a career. 800,000 hours. It's something crazy like that. So then I ask you, how do you want to spend that? And who do you want to be in that? And how do you want to be in that? And who do you want to serve? And how do you, you know, is it enough to take it? So looking again at the career capital, if you will, that, you know, some of it is going to be absolutely, I get this amount of money, I get this amount of happiness from it, I get to be altruistic because I make enough money, or maybe you don't make enough money, but you're doing something that is altruistic. You know, all of these are things that create what's called career capital, and then how do you want to spend that 800,000 hours? And another thing that would be considered career capital would be lifestyle. Like, I love my lifestyle of I'm wandering around with my dogs and cats. I'll sit down and teach today. Then I'll go feed my horses lunch, and then I'll come back, and I'll probably talk to Claudia. You know, it's things like that. Like, my lifestyle is pretty great. And if I'm not here, then I'm teaching animal communication somewhere, and then I get to be in barn aisles with cute horses, right? Like, I mean,
That's
crazy how much fun I had last week. And then another piece of career capital would be, are you helping? Are you helping? And that falls into the altruistic, you know, I'm able to donate because you know, that it might be more like I'm working at a nonprofit. I'm not making that much money, but I am helping. And then another thing that falls into that is, am I part of something bigger than me? And that, I'll tell you, when I started working as an animal communicator, I just couldn't help but to feel like, as much as I loved being in the theater and I loved working with people and having this life of connecting and having fun, like I felt like it was God's work. Like literally, it was bigger than me. And even the school is bigger than me. I have days, and both Shannon and Claudia know that every now and then I'm like, that's it, I quit, and then something better happens in the school. But in that I quit, like there's no quitting, because I've discovered I had nothing to do with this. The school is going, and I've been asked to help. And so when I get to a stuck point, I just know that I can't figure it out, and I have to allow it to be. And that's been a big thing. I just noticed that in the frame, Buster Keaton's tail is hanging down.
It looks like a boom, like a mic boom. Every time I look up, I want to yell, move the mic.
That's so funny. That is really...
Just moved it. Oh my God.
Oh, he's something else. Yeah, he's on his back flat out. Anyway.
At least the inappropriate part is out of the frame.
Yeah. Yeah. So those are the sorts of things that I think are really important. I would love to hear, like, if people are in their full-on career capital, if you will. Like, is it something that is really, you are really happy with? Okay, Claudia goes first.
Yes. What you said really resonated, which is, I wrote it down, am I part of something bigger than me? I feel that starting in your school was the beginning of something that was building up for a while. And now being a part of the school, having graduated, now being part of the actual school, not just being in the school, and doing what we're doing with the rescue calls and the sanctuary calls, that being a part of something bigger than me is in full force. And then you and I had a conversation this last week about, the Northwest School of Animal Massage, and it just kind of rung a bell for me. I've always wanted to be a triple threat in this, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and now I know. So but it's all connected, and it's all, the seed is the school for me, and what I've learned at the school, and like everything else is coming in. So am I at a place where I could say, oh, I could buy my dream house? Not yet.
Not yet.
I'm just going to put the word yet there.
Right.
Because what I'm doing, I know is so much bigger than me that I know I'm going to be taken care of.
Yeah, and that's always the feeling I've had too. I'm taken care of because I'm showing up to be with this work, and that is something that's really, really, really important. So it's like, and again, like getting your tools in order. And sometimes people think, oh my God, your school is so long to go through, but it's nothing compared to like having, step by step by step with the animal communication, step by step by step with the energy healing, and then taking on an elective maybe for body work. And that's, and maybe like Diane, who's going to pick me up tomorrow, when she took her elective from the school, Healing Touch for Animals is what she picked, that ended up being what she wanted to do. Like, that was it. She wanted to do that. So the school wasn't the end-all be-all for her. It was a vehicle to another type of thing where she was able to go down that path. So, it's, it's just very, I think career capital is a really important way to be looking at. And, all right, I know I have all these ways that I'm going to raise my own frequency to be happy, but how am I going to do that as a career? And again, and who am I going to show up to be? How am I going to be able to contribute? By nature, we are cooperative, so that is one thing about the school, is that, we're pretty cooperative here in the school. And yeah, so, and I really think that yeah, I want to talk about also like the there's never been like this century. What some people are saying, this is the most important century we could have incarnated in, right? Like so much is dependent on how we function even in the next 3 years as far as the carbon footprint goes and all of that. So who do we want to be in this, and how do we want to be contributing to the happiness quotient, if you will, of the group collective? What is the, your ecosystem of work and all of that? And I know, oh, Buster Keaton, look at, he's coming down. Are you coming down? There he is. Oh, yeah.
Nicole Donna, he said, I thought that about the movie Boom too.
I know.
And by the way, I agree with Melly. Melly says the school is not too long, it's too short. I agree. I don't know who's saying it's too long because no.
It's like a graduate program almost. Yeah. And so, and I want you to think about, I mean, it may not be my school. It might be the Northwest School of Animal Massage. It might be something else. But I think that, if you're already an animal professional, you do massage or you do something like, is there something else to it? Is there something more you want to bring to it? Is there, and to me, I think animal communication is the perfect thing to go along with that. I think, many of you knew that there was more to the world than Western medicine. So really looking into these careers with animals is so important, because it's what's going to feed our soul. It's going to raise our own frequency and raise our work for, our career capital, so that 800,000 hours we're spending is fulfilled and also contributes to that frequency of ourselves, our animals at home, the animals at large, the whole planet. And so I really am hoping that you're really looking at how you might be able to make that shift for yourself, so that you are able to join us and be part of the school or part of some other thing that's helping animals. And I really, just in terms of our school, you can always reach out to Shannon at info@joanranquet.com, and she will walk you through a whole path. We have lots of fun things coming up, like the virtual retreat, fall intensive, AC level 1 in the fall, energy healing for animals. But I really hope that, that this has inspired a real true thought about what can be done, how you can make an impact. Because I think that we want to definitely be part of this giant century that's so important. So if joining us is part of that, we would love to have you, especially if you've known all along that there's something more to the relationships that we have. So by all means, reach out to Shannon. If there's lots to be done. And I hope that you really look at, like, wow, if I'm spending 800,000 hours in a career, what do I want to be when I grow up? Right?
Yep. I'm getting there to who I want to be when I grow up. I know what I wanted to be when I grew up now, but who I want to be when I grow up is every day.
Yeah, and that just like it's like, oh, I jumped rope last week, my frequency is complete. No, it's every day. Every day is the opportunity to show up at who we want to be. As a matter of fact, I had another thing planned, but I started thinking about, like, happiness, happy summer solstice, and that's over the weekend. I thought, I really want to put this out there in this community, like, how do we create happiness, not just for ourselves, but for our own animals at home and in our workplace. So there you go.
There you go. And you have to go teach.
I have to go teach.
Yes, you do.
Yeah. So, yeah, I've got a couple minutes. So I have to go teach. If you're in one of my classes, I'll see you in a minute, or I'll see you tonight at 5. If not, if you're thinking about joining us, you can always reach out to Shannon, and she can line out a path for you and payment plans and all of that. And otherwise, I love this community. Like, I love that we can count on Leslie Williams being the first one on. And now that I know that Joyce loves magenta, makes that even more fun. So this community for me, I love doing this Tuesday mornings, the Tuesday morning live. So this is part of my career capital, is being able to give back no matter what. So we'll have some fun next week. See you next week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.